All right, so you're thinking about buying a franchise. You might be actively in the process and talking to the franchisor, but you want to know what questions should you ask other franchise owners that are in the franchise that you're looking to buy. Maybe you're going through the due diligence process and you're scared, you're nervous, you don't know if you should buy the franchise. That's exactly what we're going to cover in this video, so stick around. All right, so if you're new here, welcome. My name is Tariq Johnson. I've owned multiple franchise locations, bought and sold locations, and I have videos all over my channel all about franchise ownership, really with the mission to help support you in one, deciding if franchising is right for you, two, how to do the proper due diligence and go through the process of buying a franchise so that you can make a decision that you don't regret. So in this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 questions to ask franchise owners that already own the franchise that you want to get into. So at some point through the process of buying a franchise, I have a video on this, the 9 steps to buying a franchise. You can check that one out. But at some point throughout the process, you'll have had a call with the franchise company. They'll go over the brand. You'll probably have a couple of those different calls. You'll probably do an FDD review, franchise disclosure document. At some point, let's fast forward. At some point, you'll get to the part that's called validation. Validation is when you talk to other franchisees, other franchise owners in the system. And when you do this validation, this is so key. This is a massively important part of your process to figure out if a franchise is right for you and to get insights like how much money can you make owning the franchise, because franchises are regulated by the FTC and franchisors are not allowed to make income claims outside of their item 19 and their FDD. They can't tell you how much money you could make or how much money other people make in terms of gross sales or profits. So you have to rely solely on the due diligence process and talking to other franchisees. So as we go through this video, you can follow along with me at tariqjohnson.com/blog, and you'll see this post on 10 questions to ask franchise owners. Now stick around in this video because I'm going to throw in some bonus questions that are not in this blog post, but you can follow along with me here, so make sure to do that. And if you've watched some of my videos before, if you can't tell, I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm a little bit nasally as I'm going through this video, so forgive me on that. I know it sounds kind of goofy and funny, but I wanted to make sure to get this video out there for you. All right, so the first question I asked, let's talk about this. Is this your first franchise and what were you doing before? You really want to get a sense of the franchise owner's background and really why they made the decision to go with that franchise. Sometimes that will tell you a lot about your concept. I mean, if you're having conversations with franchisees that were really sharp, intelligent people, came from successful backgrounds, and they tell you about what their background was, what they were doing, process they went through to do the research on their own, I don't want to say that that validates that the franchise is the right fit, because everyone's experience is different in a franchise, but it can give you a sense. If you're talking to multiple people in the system that are sharp, smart people, have a track record of making good decisions, then it at least gives you some insight that you're on the right track and you're on the right path. If you're consistently finding that the franchisees that you're talking to don't seem to be that sharp and they maybe all are a little bit negative or have bad attitudes or don't seem to be the quality of owners and candidates that you would expect within the system, well, that's a huge red flag, and you'll learn a lot just by understanding that and their background. So the next question is, was the initial training provided by the franchisor sufficient? And do you feel like you were prepared for everything that happened since the opening? You know, this is an interesting question because one of the main reasons why you're looking at a franchise and why most people look at a franchise is because you want support. You want to decide on a business that has the opportunity to fill in the gaps that you don't have about business. And so there's a track record of the franchise or not providing support or the proper knowledge, then geez, like that's a huge risk and red flag. Now, here's the thing. This is where when you do this process, you've got to use your judgment and see where there's just some people you can't please. And in any franchise concept, you're going to have owners that are not happy, that are not satisfied, that are not making money. The opportunity wasn't what they... So long story short, you're going to have people that aren't happy no matter what. What you want to do, and this is why you need to talk to at least 3 to 5 franchise owners within the system overall. And you want to talk to franchise owners that are in different areas of the country and different territories so you can get a balanced perspective. Obviously, if you're looking at a newer franchise concept, you may not have that benefit. There may not be that many franchisees in the system, and they might pretty much all be in one area. But you'll get a sense. You'll get a sense of someone's personality style, and if they're just kind of like a negative person that always complains, there are people like that. So the point is to get a balanced judgment. All right, the next one. Do you feel, is the franchisor accessible when you need them? You know, here is, and to piggyback on the prior question, when I owned my franchise, well, I still own a franchise, and but when I was first starting out with my franchise location, I initially had some frustration where I felt like there were all these things that I didn't know what I didn't know that I had to figure out on my own. And I thought the franchisor was going to help and be more proactive with those things. What I realized is that this is my business. This is going to be your business. There's a certain level of ownership and a level of proactivity that you need to take in your business. So what I found was, if I asked a question or if I asked for support, I got it. If I just sat back waiting, expecting for the franchise concept to volunteer every piece of information or advice, then I would have been sitting back waiting for a long time. And some people, I think, want to use that as a way to blame and act as the victim. Don't do that. You're gonna cause yourself a lot of pain. And so this question, which is the franchisor accessible when you need them? When asking the other franchisees, hey, when you ask for help or when you ask for support, do you get it? How quick are they to respond? What does that response look like? And that is important to know and to understand. How many hours a week do you spend working on the business? And asking about the work-life balance of the franchise owner. There are a lot of different franchise ownership types. If you don't know all the different types, I have videos on that. You can check in the description below. I have videos about the 7 different types of franchise ownership. So depending upon what type of owner that you're talking to is really going to depend on what their work-life balance looks like and how many hours a week are they working. And then you have to compare that to what type of owner that you plan to be. So if they're an owner-operator, they may be in their business 30, 40, 50 hours a week. And if they're more of a semi-absentee owner, where they have a manager running their franchise business, they may only spend a few hours or 10 hours or 15 hours a week in their business. And then you also have to think about how long have they owned their business. A franchisee that you're talking to asking these questions that's owned the franchise for 2 years may still be in that phase where they're spending a lot of time in their business. Whereas if you're talking to another franchise owner that's in year 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 in their business is mature and at a different phase in their business. Just like if you have kids. If you have a 1-year-old, that 1-year-old's gonna need more of your attention and your assistance and feeding than if you have a 6 or a 7-year-old that might wanna spend more time playing on their own, doing their own thing. I know that's kind of a funny analogy, but I think it's very appropriate in this case. So you really have to distinguish and get an idea of who you're talking to. This is where it's helpful to take notes. This is where it's helpful to have a scorecard as you're going through this process. Guys, let me just remind you real quick, if you haven't subscribed to the channel below, please do. If you're getting some value out of this video, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. YouTube, show this video to more and more people. Also, drop me a question below. What are your questions about going through the due diligence process and evaluating if the franchise concept is the right concept for you? Also, last but not least, head to my website. Not only can you get this resource for free along with other free blog posts and other questions to ask and how to do due diligence and all of that good stuff. So there's some really great free resources there. But you can also download my free 7-step blueprint to business profits in 60 days. It's a 28-page ebook that's completely free on how to get a business profitable in 60 days or less. We did it with our first franchise that we opened up as a brand new location, which was pretty much unheard of. And this is just jam-packed with value, so make sure that you go check it out. All right, on to the next one. Are you getting your money's worth in regards to the contributions to the marketing fund? This is key because any franchise you pay royalty fees. The royalty fees is one of the main income streams that the franchise receives to hire staff and be able to support you. But then you contribute to a marketing or advertising fund that is typically a mandatory contribution. It usually ranges from 1% to 4%. If you're in a really big concept that does a lot of national advertising, then they might charge you on the higher end. For my franchise, they charged 2.5% for the ad fund. There was a lot of value in that. So as a part of that, one, there was a marketing team that provided assistance and support. And then there were quarterly LTOs, limited time offers, where the franchisor would send us all this marketing collateral, what's called POP kits, and they'd send the whole box with the whole guide and all these different collaterals to put up in the store. There was some other marketing that we got because of this contribution. So you want to find out from the existing franchisees, like, what are they getting for the money that they're spending? And if you're comparing two different franchises right now, this could be the difference between which franchise you choose, because in one you could get bang for your buck that helps you grow your business, and one just could be a franchise concept that's just figuring out a way to spend that money to just, support staff that isn't really providing you a lot of value for your dollars and your contributions. All right, this is a great point where I'm going to throw in some bonus questions here that I don't have on this blog post, but some bonus questions would be around the finances, because ultimately, you want to know about the system, you want to know about the support, but ultimately the main question is really, hey, can I make money doing this? Can I replace my full-time income? Am I going to make my money back? Is it going to be worth my investment? So here's some financial questions that you can ask. One would be, hey, what do you think is a respectable year 1 and year 3 gross revenue? And the reason why this question is really good, you'll get an idea from different franchise owners of like, hey, starting out year 1, like, how much do you think I should do in sales? And then what do you think I should be doing in year 3? And the value is not necessarily in the direct number they give you, but what they say in between that. How much more they add on to that question so you can get a sense of like what sort of sales you could or should be doing. And depending upon that franchise owner's experience, they may give you very different answers. Now, another question you can ask to piggyback off of that is, hey, what do you think is like a low profit margin? What do you think would be like an average or respectable profit margin? And then what do you think would be like a really great profit margin for this business? And so you're not asking them how much money do they make, because a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable with that. If you're calling franchise owners like, hey, how much sales are you doing? What's your profit margin? Like, people are going to be turned off if you ask that question. Some people might share that answer with you, but you might turn off some people and they may not answer it directly because they may not want to share their personal information with you. But if you ask what type of profit margin is low, medium, or high, then you can get a sense. It's a softer way of asking a question where someone may be willing to open up more. All right, so another question to ask is, have you found any hidden fees or unexpected cost? And how did the franchisor approach when asked about these? Now, the reality is you should really be able to do your homework when you review the FDD. In item 6 off the top of my head, item 7, item 5 through item 7 usually goes through fees, one-time fees and recurring fees. So you should go through that, and as a part of the FDD process, you could go line by line and ask the franchisor about those fees, so there shouldn't be any surprises. Generally speaking, any fees that they can charge should be in that FDD, so shouldn't be any surprises there. And then, are you happy with the financial performance since opening? Do you feel like you're meeting all of your financial goals? So this is a more direct way to ask the question. I saved this question for the end and later on because at this point, it gives you some time to have built some rapport with the franchise owners. If right off the bat you come asking financial questions, like it's like, whoa, I don't know you, like you're coming on kind of quick here. And so you want to soften them up a little bit, but you want to get a sense of, hey, are you happy with the financial performance? And are you meeting your financial goals? By asking that question indirectly, it gives them the space to answer it in the way in which they feel comfortable in sharing the information with you. So someone might say, yes, I'm happy and I am meeting my financial goals, and that's it. That's all the information they give you. Another franchise owner might say, hey, yeah, I'm really happy. Actually, our store did $700,000 of sales last year, and we had a 20% margin. I made $140,000 in profit. And then you can piece together from there. So you're not going to get, some franchise owners are just not going to reveal that information and share it for you, share it with you, and some will. And then the last question is, if you had to do it all over again, would you make the investment again with the same franchisor? That's a telling question. And read in between the lines, right? Because if they say yes, but they went out and bought another franchise concept with a different brand after they bought this one, the one that you're talking to them about, well, actions speak louder than words in that case. Or maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's not territories that are available that they may want to buy. There can always be good reasons. So that's why it's helpful to ask these questions. And so I hope you got some value out of this video. The purpose, again, is for you to be able to do really deep due diligence to understand if a franchise is right for you. You can go to my website, tariqjohnson.com/blog, to get this for free. Drop me a comment, make sure you subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.